And welcome back, everyone, to Who Would Win. Today's Who Would Win comes to us from, who was it? The Time Warp Tin Man, who asked the question, who would win a fight? Bon, the the sin of greed, dyslexic much, maybe much dyslexic, sin of greed from Seven Deadly Sins versus Larfleeze, the only orange lantern, the avarice lanterns. Larfleeze is actually. Let's do Larfleeze first, because Seven Deadly Sins is not a series I am as well versed in. I don't read or watch it, but I'm aware of it. But I'm very well versed in the Lantern Corps. I do a whole series on them. The Lantern Larfleeze basically, it was him and a buddy who were on a planet. They were, if I'm not mistaken, they were slaves wanting freedom, riches, all that, and they ultimately found the orange light of greed, and they fought over it, and the winner was Larfleeze, and the light went to him, the greediest and willing to do whatever it takes. As such, Larfleeze is insanely powerful. Even by lantern standards, the orange light of greed is actually very powerful. Now, it is actually a catch-22. Because it's the lantern of greed, the more of the lantern rings you give out, the less powerful they are as a collective. That's why there is only ever one orange lantern. Even when Larfleeze was forced to give out a couple rings during the War of Light, he ultimately took them back. So, yeah, as such, he is never satisfied, constantly wanting more. And that includes not just like wealth, treasure, whatever, food. He's always hungry. He's always demanding. He's like, mine. It's yeah, what's mine is mine is mine. And mine is as you can see in the background there. He has all the same powers any other lantern does. He can survive in space, create an energy field, energy constructs. One of the things, though, it is that he does have is that he can steal, not the powers. He doesn't steal the powers of individuals, but individuals he's slain, he essentially steals their form, and I think like their life force of some kind, and can summon them. It's his own private lantern corps, more or less. He is capable of matching both the red lanterns of a rage, which are also very powerful of their own right. The green lanterns are usually at a bit of a disadvantage when going up against them. In fact, he actually made a deal with the Guardians so that no one go into his sector of the universe. Like, he's also... See, yeah, we don't go there. We don't bother him. He doesn't bother us. It's all good. Why don't you bother him? Because we're not actively prepared to handle him. But we have hundreds, if not thousands, of Green Lanterns. Yeah, we know. It's like that. The only Lantern Corps that actually are legitimately his antithesis are Love. And it's not really his antithesis so much as love is something that greed can't really affect very well. And Blue Lanterns. Blue Lanterns are a natural counter to him. In fact, they can quell his hunger. As soon as I think it was St. Walker met him, he was able to calm down Larfleeze, and I was like, my God, I feel better. And then he loves it. No, I want that blue ring. Give me the blue ring. It's like, yeah. At one point, all like the main heads of the Lantern Corps were taken away, like all the main lanterns were taken away and imprisoned in like a book, I believe, and they lost their rings. When he got released, he actually immediately said, no, keep that thing away from me. I don't want it anymore. But the ring went back to him. It's like, yay. It shows that the orange ring is actually is very parasitic. While it's not completely taking over the mind of the individual, it is heavily influencing them. So, yeah, Larfleeze, though, is insanely powerful. But then again, so is Bon. Bon is actually no slouch. Bon is the greed of sin. Is the sin of greed. Now, as such, he is a member of that group. He is extremely, he's one of the more wilder members. Due to his former ability of immortality, it was unknown what his age was. Chronologically, we know he was apparently at least 1,114 years old, but stayed, roughly speaking, 34 years old biologically. He fights in a very haphazard way, like reckless. Because of the immortality he once had, he was so reckless in fighting because he drank from the fountain of youth. He could literally survive just about anything. It didn't matter what you threw at him. Now, I don't know if his body had ever been completely incinerated or whatever, but still, he could pretty much survive whatever you threw at him. He did, however, lose this ability after losing the power of the fountain of youth to revive Elaine. Due to his time subjected in the harsh conditions of purgatory, however, his endurance and durability drastically increased. His physique evolved and adapted so much that even after having lost his immortality, he could withstand similar conditions and come out completely unharmed. This is shown when he suffered no injuries from the Demon King's energy storm, which could wipe out any living thing, according to Gauther. He survived basically a life-annihilating or living something that would wipe out, pretty much any living creature that should go near it within their world. So there's that. He could wipe out any living thing. He compared it to a light breeze compared to purgatory. The limits of Bond's physical resistance are further demonstrated when he was able to withstand several blows from the Demon King with only minor injuries. He was able to tank the supreme deity's god thunder that was able to severely injure King, Garother, and Diane, while Bond was completely unfazed by it, which supreme deity acknowledged him due to surviving purgatory. His physical strength and speed also increased dramatically from many centuries living and hunting and fighting the Demon King in purgatory. Bond's combat abilities increased to the point that he was able to compete in physical combat without using Snatch, his actual ability, against the Demon King in Melodis's body, who had just overwhelmed the Sins and two of the strongest archangels effortlessly. King himself pointed out that he had gained power so fast at the Fountain Youth itself. Should note that the Supreme Deity is basically a god. The Supreme Deity is the ruler and creator of the Goddess clan and the ancestor of Celestial clan, as well as the one who granted graces of the four archangels. She is the mother of original Elizabeth and by default subsequent reincarnations. An extremely powerful individual indeed. Now this is where Bond might actually really hold an edge over him. Larfleeze. His ability snatch ability allows him to rob physical objects, thus grabbing them and also the physical abilities of others, weakening them while gaining more strength and speed. However, there is a limit to how much Bond can rob from one person in order not to not over damage himself with too much power. Using a form of snatch, he's able to steal body parts. His favorite thing is to go for the heart in the blink of an eye. He wields weapons including 3-section staffs. What the hell is that? Cora House? As a member of 7 he possesses a secret treasure which was stolen during his imprisonment by the Weird Fangs. Later, it is returned to him by Merlin. It has the ability to lengthen and distort its chain angle, allowing the wielder to attack from any angle at any opponent over significant distance. Special ability is super concentration, which pushes Bond's physical and mental capabilities to their limit. Okay, I'm just trying to get a visual implication of what's of Snatch. You stop, you freaking ads. It's so irritating. Let me see here. Okay, snatched it and. Okay, so this isn't like, because there's an ability in My Hero Academia, there's a quirk that I was wondering if it was going to be like that, where basically, no matter what you have, it's just going to like disappear in your hands and reappear in the other guy's hands. That's what the quirk did. It was basically the same thing as this, but I literally saw a clip because I was hoping they had a clip to demonstrate it. And even though it does steal items, it's not like an instantaneous thing. He does still have to make the movements. He does still have to, physically touch something to grab it. It's just, he can usually just grab it and snatch it usually. There is a limitation to that to some degree. At least that's the way it looks like with his life, with the ability to use his life force. But with the chain, he just grabbed it and pulled out a heart. From what I'm seeing in this picture here. So, Bond is pretty powerful. Now, let's look at Bond two ways. One with the immortality, one without the immortality. So without the immortality, he can legitimately die. He's just apparently even tougher than he was with the immortality. With the immortality, I'll say this. Larfleeze doesn't have anything to kill him. Again, there is no indication he's ever been incinerated in his entire life, disintegrated, just reduced to nothing, a pure ash. There's been no, as far as I know, there's been no indication of that in Bond's life. So I don't know how he would handle that. That said, however, this is kind of similar to the Bakugo Guy issue. That unless, and this is the big thing, In fact, I don't even really need to look at both sides of the coin here, the immortality versus non-immortality. Unless he can snatch Larfleeze's ring or his heart, really, and even then, the lantern rings can actually sustain someone for a little while. Hell, the red rings act as a replacement heart. If he can snatch Larfleeze's ring, then he might just legitimately win. But that's a big if. Larfleeze can literally just keep at a distance all he wants, and being the Lantern of Greed, it's not like he wants people in close combat with him if he can help it. Plus, he can probably pick up that something would be off with Bond when he's trying to, aim for his hands. Trying to take my shiny! And literally, when you're dealing with a character who does not have an ability on par with the other character, it sadly turns into a bit of a stump. And unfortunately, even though Chain can reach Larfleeze, all he has to do is lantern ring it and and bat it away. Now, I will say Bond Snatch could steal the energy of the ring. The problem is that's pure avarice right there, and Bond would probably not want that. He'd probably actually feel that and be like, "This is powerful. Oh God, I do not want this. I might be the sin of greed, but whoa, hold on." And yeah, so really, if Larfleeze just wants to, and he may very well want to, he literally can just boop, toss him up, throw him into space. Not even into the sun, just into space. Now, Immortal Bond could survive in the vacuum and just be like, "Oh crap, I'm wandering for all eternity till I bump into something." Non-Immortal Bond, who needs to probably breathe air, well, that sucks. Pop, or just lungs collapse, all that goodness. And that's just me being nice. If he wants to throw him into the sun, then Immortal Bond is suffering for all eternity in the sun. And then non-Immortal Bond, I don't know how durable the other attacks, the attacks he survived were compared to being in the heart of the sun. But yeah, probably can't survive that. Or if he does survive it, good for him, but for how long? And he's still stuck in space even if he gets out of the damn sun. So, what's he going to do? Steal energy from the sun? I mean, I guess that is on the table. Can he steal individual? Let's see. Power possessed by the Foxton of Greed. Snatch according to King is the ability to that enables the wielder to rob physical objects and the abilities of other creatures. No, it only works on creatures. Can't rob the energy of the sun. Sorry there, champ. So yeah, this is kind of like, again, this is like the Guy Gardner versus Bakugo scenario where it's like, yeah, you might if the lantern in question is taking it easy on you, sure, you could last for a little bit in the fight. And with Bond, he legitimately has an ability that Larfleeze would not want to know, because he could literally take his ring. So the minute Larfleeze gets the impression he's trying to take his ring, all bets are off. And I don't even know if Larfleeze would take it easy on him. Larfleeze is not an easygoing guy. This is a guy who will literally wreak havoc on people just because they think they're going to take his rock or take a piece of fruit. This is a guy who will literally carve you a new one just for the mildest indiscretions. So yeah, Bond would probably get taken out pretty quick. But on the off chance, I say that, but there is, like I said, there is a very small scenario here where Bond might be able to win. I'd probably go 5%. Like, if I don't normally do like percentages anymore, but maybe like a 5% chance he could win. Like, there's a 5 in 100 chance, which is what 5% means, Brent. Yeah, but no, yeah, 1 in 20, and it really just comes down to, can he snatch his ring? If he can snatch Larfleeze's ring, then yeah, he'd be able to kill Larfleeze on the spot after that. But that's only if he can snatch the ring, and I have a feeling Larfleeze is not going to let that happen. So, again, lanterns can move well beyond light speed, especially at traveling speeds. They already have inherent shields, inherent barriers around them to begin with. So it's not as easy to steal lantern rings as you might think. Batman showed he did it, but that's because Hal wasn't concentrating. Larfleeze is always like, mine. It's not the same scenario, unfortunately. So, yeah, Bond, I think, isn't going to win this fight really at all. But that is just my opinion. Let me know if you feel different. If you do, that's cool. Thanks for watching, though. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I got to do my what if, and then I'm done for the day.